Mariah Daniels never expected to find anything when she installed the cameras. The house was small, 2 bedrooms, 1 floor, hardwood creaking in the quiet way old homes do. She'd moved in 2 months ago after a rough breakup. Her friends said she was brave, living alone for the first time. She didn't feel brave. She just wanted silence, and she got it. Too much of it sometimes. There were small things, of course, the back door swinging open one morning, even though she was sure she'd locked it. A fork missing. A laundry basket knocked over. She blamed herself, maybe the wind, maybe the cat. But one night, maybe 2 weeks ago, she'd woken up suddenly at 3:16 a.m., heart racing, certain someone had been watching her through the bedroom door. Nothing was there. Still, she bought cameras. 2 small motion-activated ones she found on sale. One for the living room, pointed toward the kitchen, one in the bedroom, angled across the bed. Just for peace of mind, she told herself. She didn't even check the app for the first few days. That changed on a Tuesday afternoon, while eating lunch. She pulled out her phone and opened the app on a whim. No real reason. Just curious. She tapped the living room feed. It had flagged motion at 11:52 p.m. the night before. She pressed play. It started normal. There she was, in the kitchen, framed perfectly in the background. She had the lights low, her back to the camera. She was cooking something in a pot, swaying to music only she could hear. Then the motion alert triggered. A man appeared, standing in the living room, still, silent, watching her. He didn't sneak in, he didn't move, he was already there. She froze, phone trembling in her hand. The man stood in perfect shadow, medium height, pale, wearing dark clothes. His head was tilted slightly, like he was studying her. She was 10 feet away from him and never turned around. He watched her cook for over 2 minutes. Then, as she turned off the stove, he stepped backward into the shadows and vanished off screen. Mariah's hands shook. She rewound, played it again. Still there. She backed out of the video and opened the bedroom footage, motion detected at 3:03 a.m. That same night, she tapped play. The room was dim, she was asleep, curled on her side. Then, from the corner of the screen, the man walked in. He didn't hesitate. He stepped softly to the side of her bed and just stood there, staring. His hands were at his sides, his breathing slow. He leaned down slightly like he was listening to her sleep. She never moved. He stood over her for 5 minutes, then turned and disappeared the same way he came in. Mariah dropped her phone. She wanted to scream, wanted to run, but the house was silent. Just her and the cat. The daylight suddenly felt fake. She backed into the hallway, grabbed her purse, keys, laptop, and walked straight out of the house, barefoot. She never went back. Later that night, at her sister's place, she opened the app again. She didn't want to, but she had to know. How long had this been happening? The app kept 7 days of footage. She opened a clip from 5 days ago. In the living room, she was asleep on the couch, TV flickering. Nothing unusual, until at the very edge of the frame, the man stepped into view, just for a moment, not looking at the camera, looking straight at her. And then she made the worst mistake of all. She checked a video from the first night the camera had been installed, just to see. Motion detected, 2:12 a.m. She was asleep. The man walked into frame, slow and casual, like he already knew the layout. But this time, as he stood over her bed, he looked directly at the camera. His face was clear, smiling. Mariah deleted the app, changed her number, moved cities, but every once in a while she wakes up in the middle of the night, heart racing, room too still, and catches herself staring at the dark corner across from her bed, wondering if he's watching again, wondering if she should have checked the attic. She moved out to the woods to get away from people, from the noise, from the wreckage of a life that had stopped making sense. It was supposed to be a new beginning, the off-grid shipping container home she'd bought from a retired electrician, a sturdy converted steel shell, surrounded by woods on all sides, with solar panels, a composting toilet, a security light, and nothing but silence. Just her, the trees, and the occasional wind against the siding. The first week was bliss, until she saw the man by the fence. She noticed him at dusk, standing far back near the tree line, where the perimeter fence sagged between rusted posts. He wasn't moving, just standing, old, still, thin, wearing a tattered brown coat and leaning slightly forward, like he couldn't quite stand straight. She stared at him from the doorway, then blinked. He was gone. The next night he was there again. Same place, same posture. She called out, "Can I help you?" No answer. She grabbed her flashlight and walked toward the trees. But when the beam cut through the branches, he was gone. It became a pattern. Every night around 8 p.m., the motion light clicked on outside her front door. And there he was, just standing, watching, silent. She called the local sheriff. A deputy came by, found boot prints, agreed it was strange. Probably some local guy with dementia. These woods attract strays, he said. She didn't buy it. No one got that close without making noise. No breaking branches, no rustling, no breath in the cold, just the motion light and that awful patient stillness. She installed a motion camera facing the fence line. Another above her window. She felt safer until the fourth night. She didn't hear anything that night. No footsteps, no knocking, just wind. The next morning she reviewed the footage. The first clip was from 2:31 a.m. The camera showed her container home, dark and quiet. Then movement. The old man stepped into view, closer than ever. He walked calmly up to the window and pressed his hand against the glass. He didn't move, just stared in, his face pale, mouth curled into the faintest grin. His fingers flexed slowly, smearing the glass. He stood there for 8 minutes, then turned and walked back into the woods. She left that morning. She packed a bag, locked the steel door, and drove to a motel 2 hours away. She considered never going back. But 3 days later, curiosity got the better of her. She checked the camera app on her phone. New footage, time-stamped from the night before. She hesitated, then hit play. The video opened with the interior of her container home. She hadn't left any cameras running inside. There was someone inside. The view was grainy and green, night vision haze. The camera faced her empty bed. The covers were pulled tight. Then, a shape moved into frame. The old man. His face was inches from the camera, smiling, teeth yellow and long, eyes wide. The clip cut out mid-frame. Not because the motion stopped, but because someone disconnected the camera. She hasn't returned since. She changed her number, cut off her accounts, moved again. But sometimes in her new apartment, she swears she hears metal tapping, like fingers on steel. And once, just once, she got a motion alert on her new system. The camera didn't record anything, just a still shot of the window and a handprint. The first time it happened, Naomi was already half asleep. 3 soft knocks, just after 2:40 in the morning. Deliberate, even. She jolted upright in bed and stared toward the hallway. Her phone buzzed quietly beside her. No alerts, no calls, just the clock. 2:41 a.m. She waited, listening. No voices, no footsteps, no follow-up knock. The wind outside was dead, no rain, no branches moving. The next morning, she told herself she must have dreamed it. The second night, it happened again. 2:38 a.m. This time louder. 3 knocks. Then 2 more. She crept out of bed and stood near the door, too afraid to look through the peephole. But when she finally did, there was no one. Just her dark porch and the sound of her heart in her ears. By the third night, she had installed a motion-activated security camera above the front door, the kind that recorded in infrared and uploaded to her phone. She also began sleeping with her phone under her pillow. A kitchen knife on the nightstand. Lights on in the hallway. She told herself it was just to be safe, but she was already sleeping in bursts, 30-minute stretches, ears straining for sound. 2:39 a.m. The alert came. She tapped the screen with shaking hands. The clip began with an empty porch. Then, a man walked into view, tall, thin, wearing a hoodie that hung low over his eyes. He didn't knock, he just stood there. Still, hands at his sides, watching the door. He stayed for 4 minutes, then turned and walked back into the dark. Naomi didn't sleep at all after that. The police arrived the next day and reviewed the footage. They couldn't ID him. Probably someone casing the place, one officer said. Keep your doors locked. Keep the camera running. She asked about the other houses. Had anyone else reported anything? Nope, just you. That night, she left the hallway light off, sat on the couch with the curtains drawn. She didn't want him to know she was awake. She wanted to catch him, to see his face. 2:41 a.m. A knock, then a second, then a third, faster than before, then silence. She opened the live feed on her phone. Nothing. The porch was empty. She froze. Then slowly opened her curtain. No one on the porch, but something was different. The motion light wasn't on. It always turned on when someone approached. But she heard the knock, clear as day. She reviewed the footage. Nothing recorded. It was as if the man knew exactly where the motion sensor stopped detecting. She added a second camera. Uswan hidden across the street, tucked behind a bush with a clear view of her porch. Battery powered. No night vision. Just shadows and outlines. But maybe it would catch something the other couldn't. The next night, it got worse. 2:37 a.m. She got 2 alerts, one from each camera. She watched the porch camera first. Same man, still silent. Then something new. He tilted his head to the side slowly and raised a hand. Not to knock, but to wave. Then turned and walked away. She switched to the hidden camera feed. The man was there, but he wasn't alone. 2 more people stood in the street just out of reach of the light, one tall, one shorter, both facing the house. They never moved. The footage ended with all 3 of them walking off together, disappearing into the dark like they had rehearsed it. Naomi packed a bag before sunrise. She didn't wait for daylight. She didn't leave a note. She didn't even tell her landlord. She drove 6 hours to her sister's apartment in another state and crashed on the couch, unable to close her eyes until noon. 3 nights later, her phone buzzed. She'd forgotten to disconnect the porch camera. There was a new clip. Timestamp 2:42 a.m. She almost didn't open it. But curiosity got the better of her. The video began with the porch empty, then movement. The man stepped into frame again. Alone this time. No hoodie. Just a baseball cap and dark jacket. His face still obscured. He walked right up to the door and leaned in close to the camera. Then he knelt down and slid something under the door. He stood, looked up into the lens, and smiled. Naomi never went back to the house, but a week later her sister stopped by with mail forwarded from the landlord. Inside a plain manila envelope was a photo, a picture of Naomi, taken through the peephole from outside the door. She was asleep on the couch, lights off, unaware. It had been taken days before she ever noticed the knocking. Thank you for joining us tonight on Late Night Horror Stories and True Crime. If you found this story chilling, give it a like. It helps more than you know. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a knock at the door. And remember, some visitors don't come to be let in. They come to watch. Sleep well if you can.